Brother man,
Hey, this is what we
what's
do.
going on? You know, if I had your hand, I'd turn mine in. How are you, sir?
How you doing?
Excellent.
Good.
Nice to see you.
Hey, Ace Cigar Lounge, you know we've been here, we're members, we're hanging out.
Right.
This is where we met.
This is where we met.
I think you were sitting by the fireplace.
I think I started out actually at the cigar bar, I mean the caviar bar.
Okay.
And we scoped you walking by, sharp-dressed young man. I said, hey, you know, like I said, if I had your hand, I'd turn mine in. This is the man I got to meet. And I think in there we actually met formally. And I said, I've seen you around, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history.
Hey,
and you still look sharp.
And look where we are.
There you go. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey man, hey, what we do, we smoke,
Right.
we have a little drink, and then we talk.
Exactly.
So let's go get a stick.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right.
My man. How are you, sir? Nice to see you again.
Back.
Hold it down.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So here we go. We want a stick. We want a stick
sir.
that fits Robert's palate. So let's see what we can find.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so it's like I said, anything that has a certain consistency, you can depend on it, go to. Interesting over the years, you know, the Cubans have always been somewhat, you know, of a thing.
Right.
Maybe because they're considered, you know, contraband, I don't know, whatever. But I found that while I enjoy a Cuban, sometimes the rolling's consistent. Sometimes the draw is very difficult.
Yep.
The burn isn't always consistent. And so it's kind of a hit and a miss. Padron, you know, Cuban seed, Nicaraguan filler, binder, wrapper. So I mean, it's really the best of both worlds.
So
You can do
he
the
knows a
same.
little bit. He knows what we're about to do.
And I couldn't agree more with the Cuban thing, right? It's kind of like
Right.
everybody wants what they can't necessarily have.
Exactly.
And not to knock the tobaccos or the cigars, but every
Yeah.
you know, once in a while you'll get one that's tight or doesn't roll.
Yeah. Right.
You do not get that problem with
Sure.
the Padron family and their cigars every single time.
At one point, you know, like you said, I was into, oh, give me an Esplendido, right? That's what Castro smokes, like that big, long.
Right.
And it's like, dang, man. You know, so no more Esplendidos. I just go with the Robusto, you know, short story, something like that. Although the Fuente short story is also, you know, one of the ones that I like. But I'm not the big, long 2-hour smoke. You know, I enjoy
Right.
my cigars, but more of a Robusto style, more of a, you know, shorter, you know, smaller ring gauge works for me. So
And we do have some Padrones here.
Okay.
We do feature the 1964 series.
sure,
And also the 26 series. My
Okay.
personal favorite is the 50th anniversary,
okay,
or a nice number 9. You know, they're all
Mhm.
box press, beautiful cigars.
yep.
Can't
One of the
miss on any.
Padron signature box press. We like that.
Which one's your favorite?
Typically, I do the Bellicoso.
Oh, very nice.
You know,
Okay.
that's about the length and size for me, or anything that falls into the Robusto family.
For sure.
Like I said, I'm more of the shorter
Quicker
smoke.
straight to the
Yeah.
point, right? Why
Yeah,
waste any
exactly.
time smoking a good cigar?
Oh, yeah.
in a good
And
amount of time?
another thing, when you get as old as I am, you know, you kind of have to, time is of the essence,
Yeah.
right? So I have a lot of time
I
to
had
sit
to
around.
check his ID before he came in. Make
Exactly.
sure you guys saw one.
Hey.
I had to sneak in, you know.
21 times 3, but I'm working on it. You know?
Right.
So there you go.
Okay. So which one would you suggest?
Yeah, well, we do have the #1 cigar of the year available,
Okay.
which is the 64 series.
Okay, beautiful.
Natural, so it's not the Maduro, unfortunately, but again, still
Okay.
you get that nice savory flavor.
Sure,
easy
yeah.
draw.
Love
Can't
it.
miss it.
Perfecto.
Okay.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Okay, you got your stick?
I'm good to go.
Okay. I think we need to go to the bar and see what kind of cocktail we're gonna.
Well, we've got a perfect pairing awaiting.
All right, let's go
All
do
right,
this.
Cool. Thanks. Let's do this, my man.
So as we, you know, we love the atmosphere.
Right.
You know, we've been here.
Okay.
So we always come to this point right here, and then I ask, because of
Okay.
these two featured prints,
Sure.
do you relate to the horse or the rhino?
Okay. Do I relate to the horse or the rhino?
Yep. The only two choices we got.
Right. I would probably say more the horse
Okay.
than the rhino. And, you know, not that I'm an expert or an aficionado. However, my first thought is the rhino and the tusk or the horn, maybe a little bit on the aggressive side.
Okay.
And the horse maybe a little bit more laid back and, you know, a little bit more temperamental. You got to get them on their good side. You probably know this story, but there actually was a famous racehorse named Cigar.
Really?
Yes, I have actually the photo in my lounge at home, and it's got all the famous smokers, and they've got gentleman smokers, Winston Churchill, W.C. Fields,
Okay.
and JFK, and in the image is the horse Cigar. So there's kind of a connection between me and horses and cigars and whatnot, and happened to know the artist, and he was kind enough to kind of sketch some guy we all know and love into the back corner of the image. So I'm in there with all the famous smokers. I'll have to get you an image of it so you can maybe post it or something.
Man, that'd be
like that.
fantastic,
Yeah.
especially with me leaving soon and
Right.
kind of doing this thing in
Something you
Derby.
can remember me
Oh,
by, you know?
man, how can I forget Robert Turner?
Well, hey,
Come
you know, I can be forgettable kind of guy.
So you're a horse guy, which because you know they're so majestic,
right.
pretty
Right.
wise.
Sure.
And then you can't. Okay.
And you
I
get,
like that.
you get a thoroughbred,
I like
you get
that.
a whole bunch of breeding and whatnot goes on to it. You know, the rhino is more of like of the wild and what have you. But you know, I'm sure there's people that relate to both and have a good reason
Oh, yeah.
for why they do that. You know?
That's
What
a
about
good point.
yourself?
That's a good point. Oh man, so I'm a mixture of both
Okay.
because back in like all I can relate to is being in the military.
Right.
We had to be a certain kind of way to get the mission done. So the rhino kind of signifies that.
Okay.
We had to go in and kick doors,
Right.
and find people, kind of a, you know, in a uncharted area.
And let me interrupt your thought. I want to make sure, and I'm sure that your broadcast, your listeners and your audience know
Okay.
that you're an active duty member of the military.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for your service. And
Thank you
hopefully
for
when
your
people
support.
see you, they thank you.
I appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like as I evolve,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of relate to the horse.
Like us old guys?
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm getting up there. I'm with you.
Okay, all right, brother.
So I
Appreciate
got a
that.
little bit of both in me.
Okay,
And sometimes it depends on
Yeah.
where I need it.
Yeah, which one you need to bring out.
Exactly.
I
So
feel you.
I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I'm like I said, I like the horse, and then when I need to bring out the rhino, I'll just call you.
Bring it out. Man, let's go over to the bar. Let's
All
have
right,
a-
man. Good.
All right. So Robert, here we are at the bar.
Okay.
This, you know, they did a great job designing this bar. It's fantastic, marble and everything.
Sure.
So usually with cigars, sometimes we have a cocktail.
Right.
Sit down and we start.
Solving the problems of the world. Right?
That's what we do.
Of course.
So what do you usually drink with your cigar?
So as you recall, you know, I'm not much of a drinker.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, I decided to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, you know, with a good cigar, especially something that falls in that Maduro kind of richer family, you want a drink that has a little more flavor to it.
Yes, sir.
So my go-to is typically a ginger beer because it has that little snap and flavor to it. I get a little lime on the edge of the glass,
Okay.
and works great.
It works with. So since we have these up here right now, ginger
Sure.
beer, we'll probably grab some a little bit later. But you have something that's, you know, iconic to 8 Cigar Lounge.
Okay, absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, I am a premier member.
Okay.
Upon the opening of 8, we all received a beautiful invitation,
Okay.
a box of cigars. You open the top, in the top of the box, it was a formal written invitation to opening night, along with inaugural 8 Cigar Lounge lighter. So I keep this with me everywhere I go, constantly marketing for our group. And I get the pleasure of coming in, and when I do that, I always say, can you fill and purge for me? So I keep a nice fill and ready to go, and I always do with my 8 Cigar Lounge.
And that's the first one I've seen.
Yeah.
That's the first one I've seen. That is
Well,
really-
now we've got a new one in the family that I don't have in my collection yet. So,
Well, go ahead.
so this one's gonna grow legs, and you know, Chad's gonna turn the other way right quick. Here you go. So yeah, but it's a beautiful thing, man.
All right, cool. So
Yeah.
great, we don't need anything here, but it's definitely, you have to know that cigars have a certain flavor to it, and there's certain liquors cognacs, whiskey, bourbon
Exactly.
that go with cigars.
And even though I'm
Stand up
not
out.
much of a drinker any longer, I do want to do a shout out to my very dear good friend, Guillaume Ballet. Guillaume Ballet
Yes.
is the brand ambassador for Remy Martin,
Yes.
Louis XIII, Louis XIII, cognac. And I just happened to look up on the top shelf there where all the nice alcohols are typically housed.
Right.
And I see a beautiful bottle of Louis XIII, the Baccarat blown crystal glasses, and the little device laying in front of the bottle is called a pipette. And it's, with all due respect, almost like a turkey baster.
Yeah.
And you put that in the bottle and you draw out, and it draws a perfect 1 ounce pour. And so the pipette, the glasses, the bottle, again, like I mentioned earlier about the cigar photo and all the famous
Yeah.
cigar people that are in my lounge at home.
Right.
I have another magnum of Louis XIII on display at the house with a similar setup, the pipette, the glasses, and the Louis tray.
Okay.
The actual serving tray. And I'll have to send you an image of that as well. So again,
appreciate
these
it.
are little notes
Yeah.
that you can remember me by.
I don't want to forget you.
I never want you to forget me.
Well,
either,
you know,
man.
Rosemary's unforgettable.
Well, hey.
But then, you know.
That's my better half.
I remember
you know.
when-
Actually, I tell people that I'm her better half.
Right.
But it can be argued either way, you know, depending on which day of the week.
It depends if she's there
I
or
taught
not.
everything she knows.
Right.
So there you go, right?
Because I remember when I first met you,
Uh-huh.
sitting here when Ian introduces and then I invite you to the Derby, you had mentioned her arm candy.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So, exactly. That's the way it works.
Well, you know, I'm 10 years her senior. So it's like, you know, she was robbing the cradle, kind of like.
Yeah, the opposite way.
Exactly.
Push the
Exactly.
buttons. You got it.
You know how it is, man. Right. Love the woman. Great
Oh.
lady, captivating, lights up a room, got a smile that's just to die for, and I'm her best, you know, cheerleader. So to
Yeah,
speak.
and that's something that we don't see. That we don't get to see those interactions when you're with your life partner.
26 years and counting.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful thing.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
I met her.
Great lady. Great lady.
So what Chad?
I think I'll keep her.
You know what?
think
I would
I'll-
suggest you do.
Okay.
I would suggest you do.
I can't do any better.
No, you
right?
can't.
I can do a whole lot worse, right?
So we're gonna go over here. Chad's gonna grab our cigars,
Okay.
and then he's gonna light them for us.
Great. Perfect.
Over here in front of our. We're gonna do the interview at.
Excellent. Sounds good.
So we got our stick.
Yes, sir.
We went to the bar. We got our the liquor we're gonna drink with it.
And the next move is,
Looks like we need to have a talk.
all right, that's with me, brother.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, man.
Ever since I've met you, you know, nothing but class, and even you know your wife kind of Rosemary kind of you alone, you stand alone, but then it's almost having your wife to kind of
Right.
put that
Yes.
diamond, which
over
is
the hump.
fantastic. So
Well, like I said earlier, she's a fantastic lady, and you know, she really is focused on helping me to be the best person I can be. So there's a lot of that behind the scenes. So you know, come on, Rob.
right,
So and that's the one thing I try and convey to young people, especially young men. I said, once you really understand your role in a relationship, in a marriage, you kind of get it, it clicks. And a really good woman comes into your life to help you become the best person you can be, to help you as a man
the
become
best
a better
version of
person.
yourself. Exactly.
And a lot of guys perceive it as nagging and bugging, and it really isn't. They just love you, they care for you, they want for you, and so they stay on you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, keep your game, step up your game, and so Rosemary is a professional at that. She keeps me tight. You know, so.
even when I met her for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
the way that she kind of worked the room,
Mm-hmm.
she was able to, even though I was new and I
Right.
only knew you,
Sure.
first time meeting her outside of the Derby, really actually having a conversation with her,
Right.
she just kind of brought everything in, and it was
Now,
great,
that's the
it was
beauty
great
of
to see
that
that.
woman. She can be, you know, corporate exec, button down, boardroom, whatever. Then she could throw on a pair of sneaks and be, you know, just chill. You know, the girl around the way, just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, so it's a nice a nice blend. You know, a lot of people don't have that comfort of who they are and what they're about, be able to kind of navigate in and around different worlds and different levels and whatnot. And,
Well, 26 years, I hope you guys kind of figured it out.
a little bit.
And you're still learning.
Yeah, I'm still
And
learning.
you're still learning. What really impressed me is that, you know, sometimes when you get older, you slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But she's tennis.
Yeah, dynamo.
I mean, you ain't tennis. You're not standing in one spot.
So every year she hooked up with this organization called Racket Wars, and they're not sponsored or affiliated with the USTA or WTA or whatnot. An entrepreneur came up with this idea to hold tennis tournaments around the country and around the world in different exotic or very nice venues.
Okay.
And they bring in players from all over, primarily women, but there's men, there's mixed teams. And they have the rankings, you know, you might be a 3-0 or a 3-5 or
Okay.
in your ranking you have these competitions.
Right.
And then hopefully you excel to the top and you can win the championship for your competition. So this is her second year going to the Bahamas. She just got back.
Okay.
And she and her partner won the championship for their group of 3.5, you know, in this tournament. It's the second time she's won.
Really?
And funny story, prior to retirement, she had enough foresight to say, well, you know, I don't want to just retire and sit down and stop. I want to have something to do when I retire. So about 2 years before she retired, she took up tennis, first time.
Really?
And started playing and got the bug and super competitive. So now she's on tennis teams, she trains, she travels, she's won tournaments. And so I have to take my hat off to her because she's a dynamo. Just very competitive,
Mm-hmm.
you know, always moving and going. And that's one of the things I love about her.
You brought the thing I like that, which is very rare, is sometimes they follow us
Right.
in our
Sure.
careers.
Sure.
But you've had the luxury of
Right.
following her through her career,
Exactly.
where she's taking you to different cities.
Sure.
Omaha, Nebraska.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
and you told me when you first talked about when you found out you was going to Omaha, you was like, I know nothing about Omaha, Nebraska.
So, any black folks in Omaha? They said, no, you're going to start a club, right? But yeah, it was interesting, very interesting because it was her first promotion into executive management. She was with UPS for 40 years,
Okay.
and the last 20 of those 40, she was a district president level,
Okay.
executive management.
Okay.
And Omaha was her first promotion as a president, district president with UPS.
Okay.
So it was a great opportunity for her, for us. It's been a wonderful ride, you know, ever since
Good.
then, and up into and through retirement.
So you're a SoCal guy.
Yeah, SoCal is home. University of Southern California.
Okay. Okay.
Go Trojans.
Okay.
You know, and she's a loyal Marymount alum.
Okay.
So both Southern Cal. She went Jesuit school from grade school, middle school, college, all Jesuits, Roman Catholic. And you know, they tried to keep me on the path, but I wavered a little bit. So but I ended up at SC, which is a wonderful thing.
And she still kept you.
Yeah, she
even though you
still kept
wavered.
me. Yeah, she
Okay.
said, if I had met you when you were younger, my mom wouldn't have let me date you, but we won't go there, you know. That's another chapter. Interestingly enough, and married very late in life, we were both, you know, kind of married to our jobs. I was in corporate America, she was in corporate America, and we met and married. She was, and I hope she doesn't mind me calling numbers here, but she was 35 and I was 45 when we married. First, last, and only.
Okay.
Which is rare, you know, no prior marriages, no prior children. So to find, you know, for those people who are still out there searching and hoping and wishing, there's definitely hope. You know, don't settle. That was another big thing, you know.
Right.
We had gone through, you know, difficult, challenging relationships and agreed that we weren't going to settle. And we found each other.
Good.
It was a blessing, and 26 years later and counting, so.
Let's write a book. Let's write a book
Yeah, we
about that,
should.
on how it works.
We should, yeah.
How it works. So I know that everyone has a cigar story
Mhm.
of how they got introduced and brought into cigars.
Sure.
Mine was definitely through the military. A way for us to cope with the mental stress
Sure.
that we dealt with on a daily basis and doing
Yeah.
missions. What's your story?
You know, nothing super specific, just kind of by the way, around the way, but there is a good story I will share with you. Back to Omaha, when we learned that we were getting promoted and moving to Omaha, we were in Sacramento, California at the time.
I like to say we.
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
And my buddy said, "Oh man, Omaha, you got to get a pickup truck and, and a gun rack and cowboy boots and a big old belt buckle." And I'm like, "Omaha." I'm like, "Okay." And I literally went to a map of the U.S. and I kind of know where Omaha is, but where's Omaha? I said, "Okay, you go to Oklahoma, and up through Texas, and Texas, Oklahoma, you right above is Omaha." I said, "Okay."
Right.
So as you know, I'm a big car guy.
Yes.
And usually when Rosemary would go into territory, a new district, she would typically get in there about 2 weeks before my first visit.
Mm-hmm.
And so as the story goes, she's in Omaha and she calls one day and checked in. She goes, "Oh, I think you're gonna be okay." I go, "Why is that?" She goes, "I'm seeing Porsches and BMWs and Mercedes." I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna be fine."
You don't need a truck.
Right. So as the story goes, one day she was out and about at a restaurant that we frequented and loved called Bebo's in Omaha.
Okay.
Right next to Bebo's was a cigar shop, cigar store, bar, whatever. And she happened to be walking by and she says, "Well, my husband enjoys a cigar. His birthday's coming up. I want to get him a nice cigar." So she ventures into the cigar bar. She meets the owner, who's a close personal friend to this day. Shout out to Shaheen Hamza.
I met him.
And Shaheen was there. He meets Rosemary, and naturally he falls in love with her. And he happened to pick a Padron, I believe it was 150.
Okay.
And as she's there procuring the cigar, she notices in the back there's a beautiful lounge and bar. And she goes, "Oh, my husband's gonna love this." So she introduces me to Shaheen.
Uh-huh.
And the rest is history. We're friends to this day. So that's kind of my cigar story. He was an aficionado, kind of got me into it. I kind of had a residence right there at Cigar Road.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name of the spot.
Yeah.
And I used to hang out, and that was my home away from home.
One of the things that smoking cigars, as we have conversations, we start building relationships. You built
Sure.
relationships before,
Right.
but what you did for me is when I had a conference to go to
Right.
in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
He's like, "I got you."
Right.
And I was like, "Robert, it's Omaha, Nebraska." You're like,
No,
"No."
Right. Who knows somebody
Right.
in Omaha?
Omaha.
Right.
And I ended up meeting Shaheen.
Exactly.
He came and met me out for cigars.
Exactly.
And had a great time. And we talked, we had a couple Robert stories that we were able to talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just talks about the depth of relationships that you're able to build around cigars.
We got to Omaha in 1998. I met Shaheen shortly thereafter. Let's just make the math easy. Let's say 2000. So now, 22, almost 23 years later, I'm sending friends to Omaha and saying, "Hey, go meet my boys in Omaha."
Yeah.
20 plus years.
Exactly.
And so you're right. I mean, you build relationships. And the good thing about Omaha that we learned and loved was that Omaha is the salt of the earth. You find the nicest, most congenial, friendly people you ever want to meet anywhere. We, funny story, moved into our home in a very nice neighborhood, and we weren't quite sure what it was going to be like. And we get in the house, and the first evening, there's a knock on the door, doorbell rings, and we go, "We don't know anybody in Omaha.
Right.
Who's at the door?" Open the door, our neighbors with a plate of food. "Welcome to the neighborhood," right?
Really?
We're like, whoa, I said, we don't eat everybody's food, right? But it was just, I think, a testament to the type of experience that we were getting ready to have.
Okay.
And 6 months later, somebody moves in, we're knocking on the door. "Welcome
Where's
to
your neighbor?"
Omaha, And like I said, 20 plus years later, I still have friendships. We ended up informally adopting a little girl
Okay.
while we were there.
Okay.
Mike was doing a community service day with some executives from her office and taking kids out to the zoo. They got paired up one-on-one with these kids.
Okay.
And, she got this little girl named Robbie. And they hung out, and Robbie had some special things going on with her that my wife kind of picked up on. And it was one of these like one and done. And okay, it was nice to meet you, see you later, bye. And sometimes we don't always, follow the rules. And
Yeah.
so the little girl, "Can I see you again?" And So she's like, well, you know, we're not supposed to really hook up anymore, but let me check with the powers that
Right.
be. And one thing leads to another. And Robbie had some deep, deep challenges in her life. She was about 10 years old at the time. And Robbie took us in, and we took her in. Rosemary and I were never blessed with children. And Robbie came from a broken family. She lived with her mother, father separate, you know, single parent situation. Her mom had a lot of issues.
Okay.
And we came into her life around that time. She came into our life around that time. Robbie will be 33
Really?
this August 14th. She was about 10 years old when we met her. She's traveled the world with us. We put her through college. She calls me mom, dad. She calls Rosemary mom.
Okay.
So again, Omaha. You know, so we've just got, I can go on and on with these stories.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha, Nebraska.
So you mentioned something where you just mentioned that you guys want you guys don't have kids, but you've also talked about how you've been able to mentor
Sure.
kids
Yep.
from different families, and that's how you feel that voice.
Sure. Absolutely. And you know, the beauty of that is we truly wanted kids. We wanted to have that, you know, nuclear family, if you would. And it just wasn't in the stars, right? And you don't always know what God's plan is, what God's design is for you, but sometimes you just have to have faith and go with it. And I truly think that while we've been very philanthropic and very giving in our lives and in our careers, had we had children, we probably would have had more of a focus on our own kids versus more of a focus on helping others. We would have still helped others.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the primary focus would have been on our own kids, and then thereafter, what was left over would be to help others. As a result, I think it created an opportunity for us to help others more than we might have done otherwise. And so again, God's plan, you know, you think you know what direction you want to go and should go, but you know, it's
that's
God's
my
will. God's will be done. So.
And you guys have really fulfilled that mission, almost like it's your purpose.
Yeah, it is.
But you got to figure out because I think you're right, because when you do have your own kids, you know, your focus is raising them kids. Because you have to make sure that, like I told my son, I was like, I'm not your boy, I'm not your friend. I said, I'm here to prepare you for when we're not here.
Sure.
And also to represent us when we're not around.
Yeah.
And so he kind of, when I first moved here to Vegas, he lived with me for a year. And he kind of understood that we were able to build a great relationship. And even when he left, sometimes you don't know they're watching, but he was watching me the whole time. He said, I appreciate who you are and what you do.
Yeah, you know, both Rosemary and I have been truly blessed, and many of us in our lives. And, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. And, you know, I can't give you chapter and verse why we were so blessed, but obviously we were fortunate enough to be able to take those blessings and turn them around and bless others.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, I mean, if someone were to ask me, you know, what my purpose in life, what my mission, my focus is, I get derived the biggest joy and pleasure out of helping and giving to others.
Good.
I mean, and it's almost selfish in a way because it's like I shouldn't feel this good, but
But it does.
to be able to see someone, you know, and even Robbie, as I mentioned earlier, you know, if you ask her, she'll say, they saved my life. And you just don't know. And sometimes it's a kind word, it's a smile, it's a pat on the shoulder, an encouraging word, and you just don't know what impact you might have on a person, where they may be, where you find them in their station in life along their journey.
Yeah.
And you do truly have the ability to impact so many lives in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah. And what makes it's generational, because what you poured into her, she's going to be able to pour into other people as well.
Sure.
And only because of the example that you and Rosemary have set in her life.
You know, we tried.
So you're impacting the world, which is something that my dad is real big on.
Yeah. Well, we'd like to think so. You know, where we can and when we can. You know, you do what you can. You know.
So let's figure out. So SoCal, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you get to Vegas?
I guess everything evolves around Omaha. So we're living in Sacramento. We had just been married mid-90s, and we joined a social club in Sacramento.
Okay.
Life membership, good to go. Like the next day, we get moved to Omaha, right? And there's no clubs in Omaha. This club had a an operator that operated clubs nationwide.
Right, but
You
not
had
in Omaha.
Right, but so you had reciprocity. If you went to a different city, you could go to the club in that city. Well, no clubs in Omaha. So we're in Omaha for a year or so, and I'm getting letters from the Sacramento club. We need more members. We need more members. And no one has a crystal ball, but with the life membership, it's almost like an equity position, like you buy in. And so I was nervous. I said, Rosemary, if that club fails, we're going to lose our equity.
Right.
And the company that operated the clubs nationwide had a policy that you could move your membership to any club in their network.
Okay.
So I'm like, we really need to get out of this club, but we don't know with your UPS career, almost like being in the military, you get called up, you got to go to the next city, and you don't know where that might be. So the family happened to have a condo in Bullhead City, right outside of Laughlin, Nevada. And what we would do is often fly to Vegas and rent a car and drive to Laughlin, Vegas, Laughlin,
Okay.
Bullhead City. And so we're thinking, well, I wonder if there's any clubs within our network in Las Vegas. Well, sure enough, there's Canyon Gate Country Club.
Yeah.
So sight unseen, we moved our membership from Sacramento to Las Vegas to Canyon Gate.
Okay.
Like the next day, the Sacramento club failed. So, there you go. Who knew, right?
God's timing.
And so we're in this membership for a good year, paying the dues and the quarterly food and beverage and all of that. And at the time, we were both golfing. I said, we should go out to Vegas and try our club. We've never been there, and go play some golf. And so we came out and we were playing around the golf, and this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And as we cruised the golf course, we see these beautiful homes dotted around the golf course. And I looked at Rosemary and said, wouldn't it be great one day to retire and have a home on a golf course?
Plant that seed.
And I just had this pipe dream, if you would, cigar dream, to have a home, a retirement home on a golf course.
Right.
And so we were members of Canyon Gate, and from about 2000, and periodically we try and buy, and we run into a crazy seller, and the deals fell through. Fast forward 2013, 13 years later, we're now in Philly.
Right.
Omaha, so San Francisco, Reno, Omaha, Laguna Beach, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Vegas. That's out of the so we're in Philly, and we get transferred to San Francisco.
Right.
So it was 3 years pre-retirement, and I said, babe, why wait 3 years for property values and interest rates to go up? Let's buy that home in Vegas now, even though we're going to San Fran. And then when you retire, we have a place all set up and ready to go. So we were very intentional, and on our way to San Fran, we came and we found a home in Canyon Gate. We purchased the home and moved to San Fran. So we were in San Francisco. We come back on the weekends, kind of staycation, what have you. And that was 10 years ago. And so we've had this home for 10 years. Never lived in it.
Right.
Weekends and that type of thing. And then I don't even know when it was, probably somewhere around 2016 or something like that. We're close to selling the house, and a friend said, hey man, you've got a great property, don't give it up.
Right.
So we ended up leasing the place out. And so we had tenants for almost 3 years, and during that time, Rosemary officially retired. We moved to Vegas, so we got nowhere to go. So we buy another home, like a temporary residence,
Right.
and we moved in there. And a little over a year or so ago, the tenants at the Canyon Gate property moved out. And our intention was always to remodel Canyon Gate. We didn't have a pool and the types of things that we wanted, the different amenities. So a little over a year ago, we started this journey to remodel the Canyon Gate property. It's almost done.
Almost done.
Keep saying almost.
Right.
And the plan is to move back into Canyon Gate
Good.
when it's done in June. And then we'll sell the other property that we have. But yeah, we got here kind of by way of Sacramento, Omaha, by joining the club 20 years ago. Yeah.
That's, when a couple is equally yoked, on the same page, same goals, moving in the same direction,
Exactly.
you can get so
Sky's
much
the
further.
limit.
Oh yeah.
Sky's the limit. You can do it. And then that's the other thing about our partnership. I was speaking with a friend earlier, and I was just saying, I have to take my hat off to my wife, because when we met, she's in management at UPS. She's been there for 17 years. And she was relatively happy with the track that she was on, the level that she was at within the organization. And she was good. She's like, now that I've done this, my next phase would be to, hopefully meet my soulmate, settle down, get married, have kids, raise a family, and that's a wrap. And I was a student of corporate America. That was really my thing. And I had visions of grandeur. I wanted to be a CEO of some major corporation. And it wasn't in the stars, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But when we got together and I studied UPS, I saw that it was a phenomenal opportunity for her to climb that corporate ladder and to take where I left off and get on my shoulders and take it to the next level.
Exactly.
And so we sat down and we planned it out and we said, hey, why stop where you're at? You have an amazing opportunity ahead of you. I'll do everything I can to support you, support us, to help you be as successful as possible. So we laid out a plan, a roadmap.
Okay.
And, I love it when a plan comes together.
And it seems like it's coming together well.
First African-American female operator president in the history of UPS. Was at that level for 20 years, retired as a UPS executive, and had some amazing, experiences along the way. It was a great opportunity for us, a great opportunity for UPS, and it worked out well for everyone.
Good, and that's the thing about, when I started smoking cigars, everyone has a story and everyone has a conversation. You can learn from everyone.
Sure.
And so, just kind of listening to you, you kind of talked about your relationship with your wife, which is very important. We're all looking for that soulmate.
Right.
And how to do it and how to navigate that, and even allowing her, you following her to different places, which is unconventional.
Yeah, it is.
But it's still successful. And
it's interesting because a lot of men, have that malady, the human frailty. We're human. And sometimes, we get it twisted and we got to be the man of the house and, the king of the castle and whatnot. And, Rosemary would be very quick to tell you, and I'm not speaking out of turn here, when she went to work as president, district president, she was the person. She was the one. And she walked in and it's like, Rosemary's got the room. But she'd say, I might be the president of UPS, but when I go home, I'm the housewife. Robert's the king of the castle, And so we had our roles, And that's another thing I think about when I talk to young people, especially young men. I would never want to be sexist or politically incorrect, but I do believe there are certain roles that are kind of germane to men and there are certain roles that are germane to women.
Exactly.
You and a lady are walking down the street. Someone jumps out of the bushes to accost you, right? Well, you're going to stand in front of the lady and protect her.
Exactly.
Right? You wouldn't expect your woman to stand in front of you and protect you from the accoster. That's just kind of what a man would do, right? So when Rosemary and I met, we married when I was 45.
Okay.
Right? So we both had our own homes, and and I was really, really good about cooking and cleaning and doing the laundry and changing the sheets and ironing and all the stuff of needing to take care of my home. And I was really good at it. So when she met you, she goes, well, you're pretty good at that. You keep up the cooking and the cleaning and whatnot, And, it's like that old traditional woman's role is in the house, barefoot, pregnant, and all that. And it's like, I feel as though I'm pleased, delighted that we didn't fit that norm. We broke that norm.
Right.
And, I did a lot of things that maybe are untraditional. She did things that are untraditional. But at the end of the day, I was always king of the castle.
Oh, yeah.
And we had our roles, and we were comfortable in the roles that we filled. And when it came to her career in the corporate world, put her in front.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever I need to do to support you and help you be successful, I got you. I got your back,
support. Support.
Another thing, and I'll digress a little bit, speaking about relationships, love notwithstanding, love is key. But I think what a lot of people also kind of miss or don't quite understand is the fact that you really have to be in a position to accept your strengths and your weaknesses, if you would. Some things she's better at, and I can use her support. Some things I'm better at, and she can use my support. And I think that early on we were able to kind of figure that out and become comfortable and accept that, you know?
Exactly.
And so it's really, I think, important for people to kind of meet you where you are and pick you up where you need picking up, and you know, you pick them up where they need picking up. And I think we did a really good job
Yeah.
at that,
sounds
at
good.
that as a couple.
Man, I appreciate you. And that's what this does. You know, you're getting the conversation and you just talk and not knowing how, just talking,
Sure.
you are influencing people, inspiring people.
Right.
You know, something that I could take home now that I'm looking for,
Right.
you know,
Sure.
that person, and now I know kind of
Yeah.
what the roadmap is.
Absolutely.
So, man, I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks for
my friend.
coming.
Sure.
Ever since we met, we've always been, you know, got to play a little golf together.
Yes, sir. Help me with my game.
A little bit.
Help me with my game.
It really-
take some shots of me with my baseball swing.
Right. But I appreciate it.
All right, man.
There we go, another episode of Cigars, Cocktails, and Conversation. My friend Robert Turner.
Sure.
Just being able to just spend time with you, hang out, talk a little bit, and you never know what we're going to talk about.
Exactly.
We've talked about numerous things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I appreciate the time.
Well, next time we'll talk about cars.
I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
I was going to bring that up.
All right.
But yeah, so that means we got to be here next time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, I'm probably going to Europe pretty soon, so it looks like our next episode will be in Europe.
Yes, I told my friend today, I said, my boy's going to Stuttgart,
Yep.
Porsche country. And so I'll be able to
gotta
come
go.
over there and hit that Autobahn and
Okay.
see what I can do over there, you know.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Hey, there we go, another episode of Cigars, Cocktails, and Conversation. My guest, Robert Turner. Ever since we met, long life friends, and I appreciate that. Thank
Thank
you
you,
again.
man.
I
Love you.
appreciate you. Love you too, my man.
All right, brother.